All right, so are you ready to dive into some seriously strange internet drama today?
Always up for a good digital mystery. Hit me with it.
Okay, so people have been sending us forum posts about this guy, Ashton Parks, who goes by PPP online.
EPP.
And let me tell you, this guy is something else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking like former preacher turned YouTuber, but then it's like he took a hard left turn into, well, you'll see.
Sounds intriguing already.
Oh, it gets wild. So basically the mission here, if we're going to try and understand PPP, we got to unpack his whole deal.
Right. Got to get the full picture.
Exactly. So picture this. You've got this Venn diagram,
Yes,
right?
I'm visualizing.
One circle is he's a small-time YouTuber.
Got it.
The other circle, he's a former preacher.
Interesting combo.
Yeah. Right. And then smack dab in the middle, fixated on this guy named Ethan Ralph, there's PPP.
Okay, so we've got some kind of rivalry brewing already.
Oh, it's more than a rivalry. This is next level obsession.
What's interesting is that PPP's story, while unusual, really highlights a growing trend online. People starting with one type of content and then completely pivoting, often in a bid for more clicks, more views, more of that internet notoriety.
Yeah, and it's like he's trying to become the top dog in their little corner of the internet. Think of it like those early YouTube days, all those feuds and diss tracks, but with a sprinkle of existential angst.
And that fixation on Ethan Ralph, that's key. See, plenty of people online shift their content, but this level of, shall we say, focus on another personality, that suggests something more. This isn't just commentary, it's a rivalry brewing, maybe fueled by envy or a desire to become the top dog in their little corner of the internet.
It's giving very much high school never ends, it just migrates online.
Precisely. These online communities become like their own little worlds, complete with their own rules, their own heroes and villains, their own inside jokes that nobody else understands. To really get PPP, we need to understand the ecosystem he's swimming in,
And speaking of ecosystems, things went from 0 to 100 real quick with what we're calling the infamous New Year's Eve incident.
Oh, this has to be good. Do tell.
So picture this. New Year's Eve, PPP, he's live streaming, ranting as usual about Ethan Ralph. And it seems like the holiday spirits got a little out of control because next thing you know, he flashes his bare behind on camera.
He what?
Full moon on the internet, courtesy of PPP.
You've got to be kidding me.
I wish I was. And naturally, the internet being the internet, things escalated quickly.
I bet. Let me guess. Banned from the platform.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, that tracks.
Banned, rumors of a police wellness check, just your average New Year's Eve shenanigans taken to the extreme.
See, that's where things get really interesting. This isn't just some online spat anymore. It's real-world consequences because of online actions. That line between performance and reality gets blurry on the internet, and PPP tripped over it hard. Makes you wonder, was it a calculated risk to gain notoriety, or did he genuinely lose it amidst the holiday cheer?
Either way, you gotta admit, it's pretty entertainingly bizarre.
Oh, absolutely.
And just when you thought it couldn't get weirder, that's where Kiwi Farms enters the chat.
Ah, yes, Kiwi Farms. A digital rabbit hole, to say the least.
One way to put it. Now, for those listening who might not be familiar, Kiwi Farms is, well, it's a website with a bit of a reputation.
To put it lightly.
Yeah.
Imagine a place where every awkward or outrageous thing anyone does online is cataloged, analyzed, and often, let's be honest, mocked relentlessly.
Yeah.
It's a peculiar brand of humor that some find fascinating and others find, well, disturbing.
It's like the TMZ of internet drama.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where the concept of a lolcow comes into play. Basically, it's a term used to describe people like PPP, whose online behavior, whether intentionally or not, becomes a source of amusement or ridicule for others. The very act of being documented and dissected on Kiwi Farms, that's what makes you a lolcow in their eyes.
So PPP is essentially internet fodder for these Kiwi Farms folks.
In a way, yes. But what makes it even more complicated is that PPP seems to lean into this persona, almost as if he enjoys the attention, even if it's negative.
So he's either a mastermind of self-promotion using controversy to his advantage, or he's gotten swept up in a current he doesn't quite understand.
Right, or maybe a little of both.
Exactly. Either way, it's fascinating to unpack. And speaking of unpacking, things took another turn with this whole Dick Masterson simp conspiracy.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now this is where we really dive into the deep end of internet weirdness, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. This one has it all. Online personalities, accusations, and enough twists and turns to make your head spin. This is going to be good. So we've got PPP, this former preacher turned internet spectacle, and somehow he gets tangled up in this whole conspiracy thing with Another online figure, Dick Masterson.
Ah, Dick Masterson. Yeah, I know the name. Kind of a controversial figure himself, isn't he?
Oh, totally. But that's a whole other deep dive.
Right, right.
But yeah, this one is about PPP, and they're calling him like a. Have you ever even heard of this simp thing?
Oh, absolutely. It's become a bit of an internet buzzword, hasn't it? Usually thrown around as an insult, accusing someone, often men, of being overly attentive or submissive to another person, usually in the hopes of gaining romantic or sexual favor.
Yeah, so basically they're saying PPP is like a simp for this Dick Masterson guy.
It's a perfect example of how these online communities create their own narratives, their own mythologies almost. It's like watching a soap opera unfold, complete with dramatic accusations and shifting alliances.
Yeah, and it just keeps getting weirder because, are you ready for this? PPC's YouTube channels, the ones where all of this like went down, they're gone.
Wait, what? They just disappeared?
Poof, vanished. Some people are saying that it was like rival YouTubers, trying to sabotage him.
Oh, that's definitely possible. I mean, things can get pretty cutthroat in the online world, especially if there's an audience involved.
Right, and then others think that maybe it was scorned fans or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's another possibility. It's amazing how quickly things can turn sour online. One minute you're the darling of the internet, the next you're public enemy #1.
And then other people, they think that maybe PPP deleted them himself.
Oh, intriguing. So it could be a strategic move.
Yeah, like maybe he's trying to, disappear for a bit, lay low, come back with a whole new angle. It's anyone's guess, really.
It really speaks to the ephemeral nature of internet fame, doesn't it? One minute you're building an empire on shaky digital ground, the next, it can all crumble. You're left with whispers and screenshots, your legacy debated in the dusty corners of forums you may never have even visited.
It's almost poetic in a way, all that striving for attention, for validation, and in the end, it can disappear with a few clicks of a mouse.
That's the thing about the internet. It's both permanent and fleeting. Information spreads like wildfire, but it's also constantly being buried under a new wave of content.
Which is probably why this whole PPP thing is so fascinating. It's like holding up a funhouse mirror to internet culture itself. All the absurdity, the fleeting fame, the drama, it's both entertaining and a little unnerving.
Precisely. And that brings us back to the core question, doesn't it? Who is Ashton Joel Parks? Is he a calculated self-promoter, a troubled soul lost to the digital sea, or maybe a bit of both?
And here's the kicker, we may never know the full story. We're left piecing together fragments, trying to make sense of a narrative that's as much about PPP as it is about the strange, often baffling world we've built online.
A world where a former preacher can transform into an internet provocateur with the click of a button, captivating some and repulsing others in equal measure.
It really makes you wonder, what would your digital footprint even say about you? What would people find if they went digging through your online history?
Now that's a question worth pondering, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So we're back and ready to finish our deep dive into, well, PPP.
It's easy to write off someone like PPP as just another internet oddity. But I don't know, I think there's something kind of like deeper going on here.
Oh, totally. And I think we've all gone down like a weird internet rabbit hole once or twice, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
But with this guy, with PPP, it feels like, it's more than just trying to get attention, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he's searching for something, even if he doesn't even know what it is.
Exactly. It makes you think about the human need for connection. Think about it. This is a guy who was a preacher.
Right.
So he had a community.
Right.
He was speaking to people.
Yeah.
There was some sense of belonging there, presumably. And then he ends up in this, bizarre corner of the internet, embroiled in all this drama. But again, surrounded by people, engaging in this strange digital dance.
It's like he's still playing a role, right? Like he's still performing.
Yeah.
Just on a different stage.
It's a different stage with a very different audience, yeah.
Except this stage is less about sermons and more about, flashing your rear end on camera and getting banned from the internet.
And that's where they, I don't know, almost like a tragedy comes in, right? It's like he's chasing this connection, this sense of purpose, but he keeps going about it in all the wrong ways,
Yeah.
ultimately pushing people away rather than drawing them in.
It's like watching a moth drawn to a flame.
Oh, I like that.
Except in this case, the flame is internet infamy.
It's a very, very apt metaphor. And that's the thing about the internet, right? I mean, it can just amplify everything.
Yeah.
Our desires, our insecurities, our need for validation.
It's a double-edged sword if there ever was one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think with PPP, we're kind of watching that play out in real time.
And the wild thing is we have no idea how it ends, you know?
Right, exactly. Like, will he find what he's looking for? Will it completely consume him? I mean, who knows?
Who knows? This deep dive has been a wild ride.
It really has. Full of twists and turns. I never would have seen it going this way.
Me neither.
And isn't that the beauty of it all? The internet is this vast, uncharted territory full of fascinating characters and strange stories just waiting to be uncovered.
It's crazy cause. You know, it makes you realize that there's a whole other world out there.
Yeah.
Hidden behind those screens. And sometimes it's even stranger than fiction.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of Ashton Parks PPP. Thanks for joining us, and, well, stay curious out there. You never know what you're going to find.